I'm here today at Sentinel Peak, which is also known as A Mountain in Tucson. I want to talk a bit about a pretty significant misunderstanding people have about core strength. But what I want to talk about today is the difference between being strong in your core versus being fat or skinny. So fat skinny versus strong weak. And actually they're two very different things. People think that somehow your abdominal girth or your fat on top of your muscle layer has something to do with whether or not you have a strong core. And there's really no relationship. You can have a very strong core and have layers of fat over your muscles. You can have a very weak core and be very skinny. Having strong core muscles has more to do with physical activity and exercise, whereas being fat or being skinny is more to do with diet. Although exercise can help you lose fat, getting that six-pack that people search for really has more to do with diet and nutrition and being clear and consistent with that. So let's get into a little bit. Take someone who's very strong in their core but also has a lot of fat. So an example would be a sumo wrestler. A sumo wrestler puts on lots of weight. They have a lot of layers of fat over their muscle layer, but they are very strong in their core. Some of the strongest people in the world are sumo wrestlers in terms of their core strength. And so for your back, it's more important to be strong in your core than it is to be skinny. So let's take someone who is skinny and weak in their core versus fat and strong in their core. The person who's fat and strong in their core will have less problems with their back than someone who's skinny and weak with their core. How can someone be skinny and weak? Well, because people have different metabolisms, and someone can have very high metabolism but do almost no physical activity, and they're going to be very weak. So I've heard doctors sometimes say, or patients will say their doctor said, if you just lose some weight, your back is going to feel better. And they're totally missing the boat on that. It really comes down to physical activity and strengthening up the core muscles to give you strength and strengthen up your spine, help your spine. Now, I'm not speaking from a cardiovascular standpoint. That's a whole different thing. Being skinny versus being fat has tremendous changes in terms of your cardiovascular system. I'm just talking about your back. So core muscles, strong strength having to do with physical activity, skinny fat really having to do with your diet.